to the Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast with your hosts, Reese Downing and Jacob Workman.
What's going on, guys? It is TNT Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast, NFL edition, week 1. We are finally here. With me, as always, is fine citizen and co-host, Mr. Jacob Workman. Jake, what's going on, brother?
I'm very excited for Sunday Night Football. I'm ready for Lions-Rams.
Not excited for anything else, just Sunday night?
Nope, Sunday night. That's it.
All right. Well, at least you're honest.
Well, I'll be excited if the Browns beat Dallas.
I set myself up for that one, didn't I? All right. Well, there's a lot to cover on the news and notes side before we start making picks. So let's hop right into this. First and foremost, this is a crazy story. 17-year-old boy pulled a gun on Niners rookie wide receiver Ricky Purcell and during an attempted robbery. Struggle ensued, and both Purcell and the boy were shot with a gun. He's going to miss at least the first 4 games of the regular season while on the non-football injury list. Those games will be against the Jets, Vikings, Rams, and Patriots. He would be eligible to return for the Niners' 5th game on October 6th against the Arizona Cardinals. 49ers and Trent Williams are also rumored to be close to finalizing a deal. Williams' brother posted a video of the tackle getting off a plane in the Bay Area on Monday night, and Adam Schefter of ESPN reports that Williams and the Niners are working to finalize a deal that would have him back in uniform. The team did sign tackle Brandon Parker as a backup option in the event that a deal isn't completed, and he did take the spot that Ricky currently held on the roster.
I believe that deal is done. I believe they got it done about 2 hours ago.
Perfect. All right. Well, there you go. Yeah. So that deal is complete. Sounds like
it's a three-year, $82.66 million that includes $48 million fully guaranteed.
Nice. He cashed in. That'll put him in a Niners uniform for the rest of his career because he's already, he's up there in age. So good for the Niners and Williams getting that done. They had a lot of question marks between him and Brandon Ayuk, and they finally got it done just before the season kicked off. So good news for them. Jumping into some other team updates here. The Seattle Seahawks plan to open the season in throwback unis from the 90s. The classic silver helmet, royal blue, and apple green jerseys and silver pants made their first appearance in a Week 8 win over the Browns last year. It's going to be the first of 2 times the teams wear them this year, the second being their Week 6 Thursday night matchup against the 49ers. Baltimore Ravens, who were over the salary cap as recent as last week, have restructured Roquan Smith's contract, creating just under $5 million in cap space. This was kind of funny. Someone in Philly has been faking political ads that claim presidential candidate Kamala Harris is the team's official candidate. The team is working with their advertising partner to have them removed and replaced. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, you'll see an image of that. It's kind of funny. Former Nebraska head coach Scott Frost is joining the Rams staff as a senior football analyst. Jake, Rams fan, what do you think about that?
I mean, it can't hurt. He's known for great offenses. I mean, he was a national champion head coach at UCF. So, I mean, that's I love what his offense is. It's a fun offense. I think, putting him with Sean McVay, McVay's brought in a lot of guys like that. Jesus, what the hell is the guy's name? Cliff Kingsbury was there for a little bit, and guys like that, like the high-powered offensive guys from college football. McVay's kind of gave them a little run through. Also, with what you were mentioning with Seattle's uniforms, the Lions haven't officially announced it yet, but they've thrown some hints out that we might see the all-black uniforms with the blue helmets on Sunday Night Football this week.
I love it. Those are my favorite jerseys. All right, let's move into some player availability updates. There's a lot here. Keeping with Seattle here, Tyler Lockett, who's missed the last couple of weeks with a leg injury, is expected to play in the home opener against the Broncos. Question marks are still up in the air on when Jamar Chase is going to return to the field. He's been seeking a long-term extension, and thus far the team and Chase have not come to an agreement. When head coach Zach Taylor was asked for an update on Monday, he told WLWT's Emily Sanderson, quote, "We'll just take it day by day." Chase is scheduled to only make $1.055 million in base salary this year, which sounds ridiculous. The team did exercise the $21.8 million 5th-year option on his contract for next season, but Chase is undoubtedly looking for a similar contract to those of CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk. So keep an eye out for that because Chase may not be in uniform by the time Week 1 kicks off. Steelers running back Jaylen Warren, who's been dealing with a hamstring injury, is expected to play in Week 1 against the Falcons. Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison, who's been nursing an ankle injury after being carted off the field in an August 14th practice, was seen practicing on Monday and looks like he may be good to go for the team's road opener. Jaron Hall, who was recently waived by the Vikings, has been signed to Seattle's practice squad. Tampa Bay edge rusher Yaya Diaby, who's missed more than a month after injuring his ankle in an August 1st practice, was back on the field on Monday and looks to be ready for the Bucs season opener against the Commanders. Cornerback Adoree Jackson has re-signed with the Giants late last week. Head coach Brian Daboll said that they will take it day by day on how much playing time Jackson gets before being fully enveloped in the depth chart. But that late pickup kind of speaks to, I think, his lack of confidence in the existing cornerback room. So look for Jackson to be on the field sooner than later. Kansas City Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been placed on the non-football injury list and will be out for the first 4 games of the season as he deals with the effects of post-traumatic stress disorder. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, both of whom have missed some time nursing injuries, returned to practice on Monday, and they both look to be good to go for their home opener. Juju Smith-Schuster and Samaje Perine, both of whom were added to the Chiefs roster last week, may see some playing time in the opener, according to Coach Andy Reid. Dalvin Cook has signed with the Dallas Cowboys, adding to a running back room that almost certainly will be a by committee approach. Free agent wide receiver Michael Thomas, who has been with the New Orleans Saints for quite a while, is currently a free agent. He's going to be suspended week 1 as punishment stemming from a November 2023 arrest for simple battery and criminal mischief. And finally, we've got tight end Mark Andrews, who's been out since mid-August after a car accident. He is back in uniform and appears to be fully ready to go for the Thursday night matchup against the Chiefs. A couple updates on some QB battles. This is mostly stuff that's been announced in the past week, but just to cover it, Denver's Bo Nix, Vegas's Gardner Minshew, Minnesota's Sam Darnold, New England's Jacoby Brissett, and Pittsburgh's Russell Wilson have all been named week 1 starters. The Dallas Cowboys have also announced that QB Cooper Rush will maintain his role as the team's backup quarterback with Trey Lance in the 3rd spot. Uncle Lenny, free agent Leonard Fournette, traveled to Indianapolis on Monday to visit with the Colts to see if they can make a deal work. I do not believe anything has been announced at this time, but look out for that. And finally, Mickey Mouse and DirecTV are having some issues here. Dispute between DirecTV and Disney has gone downhill quickly. All Disney-owned networks were promptly removed from both DirecTV streaming and satellite services, including ESPN, which hosts Monday Night Football. This comes a year after Disney and Charter had a similar battle that kept Disney-owned assets off of that service until the first Monday Night Football game aired. Something to keep an eye on for DirecTV subscribers is this could impact your ability to watch the 49ers-Jets game that is coming on Monday night. All right, guys, it is time to pick some games. You ready, Jake?
Yeah, I'm beyond ready. The previews were very long. it was a long 2.5 months. I'm ready to pick some games.
Yeah, let's make some money here. All right, kicking off the NFL season with an AFC Championship rematch as the Baltimore Ravens travel to Arrowhead to face off against the back-to-back Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs Thursday in Arrowhead at 8:20 p.m. on NBC. Both teams come into the season as favorites in their division. We'll see if Derrick Henry will be a difference maker in this matchup or if the Chiefs can keep the ground game in check. Ravens finished 13-4 last year during the regular season, while the Chiefs finished 11-6. Interesting matchup here is KC went 5-4 at home last year, while the Ravens went 7-1 on the road. KC does lead the series here 8-5, and they are favored by 3.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs -3 here. There is one thing I want to throw out though. I did see that Rashee Rice is supposed to be clear and not suspended. So I'm kind of baffled by the NFL when it comes to that. Like I watched Jameson Williams last year get suspended forever for gambling on not even the NFL outside of a building, and there's some dudes doing some pretty bad stuff in the NFL, and they're not even getting suspended. I don't quite understand the logic here, but I do like Andy Reid at home. Mahomes, Kelsey, they're back. I'm excited to watch Xavier Worthy in his debut game. I just think it's going to be a very, very fun game. But I do think the Chiefs are just too much for them.
I'm with you. Chiefs' performance at home was a little iffy to me, being 5-4, but they had some up and down parts in the year. I think this team has actually improved versus last year, which is a little scary to think about. But I'm going to take KC here to get at least a touchdown win. Next up, we are lucky enough to get a Friday game in week 1. And this is an interesting one as both the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles are traveling to Sao Paulo to play the NFL's game in Brazil Friday in Corinthians Arena at 8:15 p.m. on Peacock. The Packers finished the regular season at 9-8 last year and made some noise in the playoffs before getting ousted by the Niners, while the Eagles finished 11-6 after starting hot in the first half of the year before fizzling towards the end and then getting knocked out of the first round by the Bucs. Both teams come in with new running backs in the backfield and new defensive coordinators. Looking at away records for both teams, the Pack finished 4-5, while the Eagles finished 5-4. Green Bay leads this series 28-18, and the Eagles are favored by 2.5.
Yeah, the Peacock's killing it this weekend. Got Packers, Eagles, and Boise State, Oregon. Like those aren't bad games. This is an interesting matchup. Why the hell they're playing in Brazil with everything going on there is interesting. The teams have basically been told, don't leave your hotel. Like, I don't know. This seems like a very interesting situation and how the game's actually going to play out. I think the Packers are too good for this, though. I'm actually surprised Philly's the favorite. I'm going to take Green Bay to, I'm actually just going to take them win straight up.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be a high scoring game, but I am also going to take the Packers here plus the points. All right, the first of our Sunday matchups features the Pittsburgh Steelers as they head to Hotlanta to face off against the Atlanta Falcons, 1 p.m. in Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Fox. Pittsburgh finished the year 10-7 and kicks off year 1 with Russell Wilson under center, while the Falcons finished 7-10 and kick off their own year 1 with Captain Kirk Cousins as the new signal caller. Pitt went 5-3 on the road last year, while the Falcons were 5-3 at Mercedes-Benz. Steelers do own this series, 15-2-1 record against the Falcons, and the Falcons are favored by 3.5.
Yeah, it's the R.D. Smith revenge game. I'm taking the Steelers. I want the Steelers plus 3.5. I want to see what Russ can do. And obviously, I think R.D.'s going to have the offense ready to do something to the Atlanta defense, just as kind of some revenge for what happened there. I would be a little bit more interested in this game if Penix was the starter for Atlanta. I am not a big Kirk Cousins fan, so we'll see what happens as the season goes on there. But I do like the Steelers in this one.
Yeah, I am taking the Steelers as well. I think Tomlin's defense here is going to be the difference. Next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals heading east to meet Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, 1 p.m. in Highmark Stadium on CBS. The Cards look to improve after a 4-13 season last year and hope for a healthy year for Kyler Murray, while the Bills finished 11-6 and look to maintain some consistency throughout the season with a revamped offense. Zona went 2-7 on the road last year, while Buffalo was 7-2 at home. Buffalo does lead the series 7-5, and they are favored by 6.5.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the receiver situation is kind of on both of these teams. I know the Bills brought in Keon Coleman, Arizona brought in Marvin Harrison Jr., but after that, I mean, it's not the best. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens with these. I'm kind of surprised this is under 7, but I'm going to go Buffalo minus 6.5, but I'm not very confident in this one, to be honest. I think this is going to be an ugly game.
I'm a little bit more confident in this one, but I am also going to take Buffalo. I think it's going to be another long year for the Cardinals, so I'll take Buffalo here to cover. All right, next up, we have Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans traveling to the Windy City to face off against rookie Caleb Williams and the revamped Chicago Bears, 1 p.m. in Soldier Field on Fox. The Titans look to improve from their 6-11 record in their first year under Brian Callahan, while the Bears look forward from last year's 7-10 record with what feels like a whole new roster, most notably their rookie signal caller. The Titans have an abysmal 1-7 road record, while the Bears went 5-3 at home last year. Tennessee does lead the series 7-6, but the Bears are favored by 4.5.
Yeah, I'm this actually is a game I'm excited for. One, because I'm a big fan of what Tennessee did in the offseason, and two, because I want to watch Caleb and Rome play. So I think this is going to be one of the more fun games to watch. I actually am on Tennessee plus 4.5, though.
Yeah, that's a little surprising because it's the same way that I went. The spread being 4.5 is what really gives me pause. I think there's a good chance Chicago wins this game, but I think that Tennessee can keep it within 3 at most. So I am going to take the Titans here plus the points. All right. Next 1 p.m. game has the new look New England Patriots traveling to the land of Skyline Chili to meet Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, 1 p.m. in Paycor Stadium on CBS. While they drafted North Carolina quarterback Drake May, New England and new head coach Gerard Mayo have tapped Jacoby Brissett to start the year at quarterback as they look to improve from a 4-13 record and the worst offense in the league. Meanwhile, Cincy, who finished 9-8 last year, come in as one of the top teams in the AFC and are hopeful for a deep playoff run if Burrow can stay healthy. The Pats went 3-5 on the road last year, while the Bengals went 6-3 at home. New England does lead the series 17-10. The Bengals are favored by 9.5.
Yeah, if New England were to win this game outright, I might bathe in Skyline chili. That just doesn't seem like something that's going to be possible. I wish Drake May was playing to make this game a little bit more interesting. I truly don't care about Jacoby Brissett. Obviously, Chase being, who knows? I mean, he's probably not playing, to be honest, but and 40.5 is a very low over-under, but I do like Cincinnati in this one. New England, as we've talked about a lot in the offseason, what are they? Like, they don't seem like they're going to be anything at all.
Yeah, that depth chart on both sides of the ball is definitely suspect. Largest line of week one, since he has lost in week 1 and 4 the last 5 years, which makes this a little concerning, but the team should be one of the better in the AFC this year. Pats are deep in a rebuild, so I'm going to go with the Bengals here minus the points. Next up, we have CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans traveling to Circle City to face off against Anthony Richardson and the Indianapolis Colts, 1 p.m. in Lucas Oil on CBS. Houston finished the year 10-7 and performed well in Stroud's rookie season when the Colts had high hopes, but entering the season before finishing 9-8 after Anthony Richardson had a season-ending injury. Some extra juice in this game, as the last game of the year was Colts versus Texans, and the Texans won that game and knocked the Colts out of the playoffs. Houston went 4-4 on the road last year, while the Colts were 4-5 at home. Indy leads this series by a wide margin at 33-11-1. Texans are favored by 2.5. This line has dropped just a little bit.
Yeah, so AR back healthy. Got a little bit more weapons. Liatu Latu on defense to see what he can do to put the pressure on Stroud. But I'm not quite sold on this Colts team. I think they're going to be all right though, and I guess they do have the home advantage here, but as last year they did call it the Stroud house. So I'm taking the Texans minus 2.5.
Yeah, I've talked a lot about how much I like this Texans team. They've won the last 2 in Lucas Oil, and I think they're going to make it 3 here. So I'm going to take the Texans here to win and cover. Next up is a Florida swamp battle as the Jacksonville Jaguars travel to South Beach to face off against the Miami Dolphins, 1 p.m. in Hard Rock Stadium on CBS. Jacksonville finished the year 9-8 and missed the playoffs after being heavily favored in the AFC South to start the season, while the Dolphins finished the season 11-6 and made the playoffs, but injuries caused them to slip out of the AFC East crown and eventually led to a first-round exit in one of the coldest games in NFL history. Jags went 5-3 on the road last year, while the Fins went 7-2 at home. Jags do lead this series 6-5, but Miami is favored by 3.5 at home.
Yeah, I'm taking Miami minus the 3.5. I know they've had quite a few changes actually, but I still just think Miami's offense is going to be way too much for Jacksonville.
Yeah, I don't know how much fluff this is, but Tyreek Hill did come out a couple days ago and say that he thinks this is the most talented Dolphins team that he's been on. He's only been there a couple of years, but worth noting, when the Dolphins are healthy, they're tough to beat. I'm intrigued to see how this Jacksonville offense looks with a couple of these new pieces, specifically Brian Thomas. I think this is potentially going to be a high-scoring game, but I'm going to take the Fins at home here to cover. All right. Next up, we have an NFC South battle as the Carolina Panthers travel to the Big Easy to meet the New Orleans Saints, 1 p.m. in Caesar Superdome on Fox. Carolina looks to put last season behind them after a 2-15 season, while the Saints look to build upon their 9-8 season. Panthers did not win a game on the road last year, finishing 0-9, while the Saints finished 5-3 at home. New Orleans leads this series by a tight margin, 31-28. They are favored by 3.5.
These next 2 games are pathetic. I'm taking the Saints just simply because they're the home team. I think both of these teams are awful.
Yeah, there's not a lot of talent to go around here. Saints won 4 of their last 5 at home last year, although they were tight games. It's going to be another long year, I think, for the Panthers. I think they'll probably keep it within a touchdown, but that's not enough to do it. So I'm going to take the Saints here to cover. Next up, the last of our 1 p.m. games actually features the Minnesota Vikings, who hit the road to Jersey to battle against the New York Football Giants at MetLife Stadium on Fox. Minnesota finished the year after 7-10 and will play 2024 without their first-round draft pick in QB J.J. McCarthy after he tore his meniscus in his knee and is out for the season, while the Giants finished the year at 6-11 and hope to get a full year out of their quarterback in Daniel Jones. The Vikes went 5-4 on the road last year, where the Giants finished 4-4 at home. Minnesota leads the series 18-13 and are favored by 1.5.
Yeah. This one, I really question this game. I don't know. I'm gonna take the Giants. I think it's the bad pick here, honestly. But I'm taking the Giants plus the 1.5. I think this game is gonna be a disaster.
Yeah, Darnold historically doesn't perform that well on the road. Shane Bowen is going to look to put some pressure on Darnold early with that front four. They do have a really solid defensive line. I think that's going to be the difference here. I'm going to take the Giants plus the points to pull off the W. Next up, and this is the first of our 4 p.m. matchups, features the Las Vegas Raiders as they head west to Inglewood to battle the new look LA Chargers at SoFi Stadium on CBS. Vegas finished the season 8-9 and are hopeful for a smoother season under interim head coach Antonio Pierce, who's now full-time, while the LA Chargers enter the year in reset mode after a 5-12 year, moving on from Brandon Staley and hiring former Michigan Wolverine head coach Jim Harbaugh to take over. The Raiders went 2-6 on the road last year. The Chargers went 2-7. Storied series here with Vegas leading 69, 58, and 2. Chargers are favored by 3.
Yeah, I like the Chargers here in the Harbaugh debut. I'm interested to see what they do with the offense and all the changes that they come out with. I'm still pretty big on the Raiders. I love the Raiders defense, actually. It's going to be a little bit of a question to see what happens on their offense, but I do like the Chargers to get the win in this one and the cover.
Yeah, I think the Chargers get the win here, but Vegas's defense, I think, can easily keep it within 3. I honestly think this game's probably going to end up as a push. I'm going to take a flyer and take the Raiders here, but I do think this is probably going to be a push game. All right. Next 4 p.m. matchup features the battle of Russell Wilson's exes as the Denver Broncos travel northwest to face off against the Seattle Seahawks at Lumen Field on CBS. Denver finished last year at 8-9 and looks to the future under rookie quarterback Bo Nix, while the Seattle Seahawks enter year 1 of the post-Pete Carroll era after finishing last season 9-8. Denver went 3-5 on the road last year. Seattle finished 5-3 at home. Denver has control of the series lead 35-22. Seahawks are favored at home by 5.5.
Yeah, I'm pumped for this one. We got Ryan Grubb versus Sean Payton. This is my kind of football. The over-under being 41 is crazy. I think it's going to go way over that, but I'm taking Seattle minus the 5.5.
Yeah, I was surprised by the over-under on this one as well. This is one of the more interesting games of the week for me as we get to see Bo Nix get his start in the Pacific Northwest. He's got roots there, familiar opponent in Ryan Grubb. I think the Seahawks team may make some noise on the offensive side of the ball, at least this year. Home game in Seattle, so let's roll with the Seahawks here to win and cover. Next up, the Dallas Cowboys head to the Midwest to battle the Cleveland Browns, 4:25 p.m. in Cleveland Browns Stadium on Fox. Inventful stadium name there. Dallas finished the year at 12-5 with a lot of pressure as both head coach Mike McCarthy and QB Dak Prescott are playing on expiring contracts, while the Cleveland Browns look to their first full year under Deshaun Watson after finishing last year 11-6. Cowboys went 4-5 on the road last year, while the Browns were dominant at home, finishing 8-1. Cleveland leads the series here 18-14. They are favored by 2.5.
I'm actually taking Dallas to. I think they're gonna just win outright, to be honest. But this is just one of those games where I'm rooting against my own interest. So I'm picking Dallas to win this game.
I think of your own interest. Hopefully they lose and then they give Jobu the nod to be the starting quarterback there.
Yes.
Tough game to pick, especially with the spread. Cleveland plays obviously a lot better at home. Dallas tends to struggle sometimes on the road. My hope is that Zimmer's defense can force some turnovers from Watson, and that'll be the difference. So I'm going to take Dallas here plus the points as well. The last of our 4 p.m. matchups features the Washington Commanders. I didn't say the other team name. Hit the road down. I know it only took me 7 shows. Reset here. Last of our 4 p.m. matchups features the Washington Commanders, who hit the road down 95 to meet Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 4:25 p.m. in the Ray J on Fox. Washington finished last year 4-13 and enter anew with a new head coach in Dan Quinn and a rookie signal caller in Jaden Daniels. While Tampa finished 9-8 and looks to build upon their playoff win with a similar looking team on both sides of the ball. Commanders went 3-6 on the road last year. The Bucs went 4-4 at home. Washington leads the series by a game, 13-12. Tampa Bay is favored by 3.5.
This one's going to be some fun. Get the Daniels debut for Washington, and then Baker with Evans, Godwin, and my guy McMillan from Washington. I'm excited to watch these offenses. I am going to take Tampa minus the 3.5 though on their home field.
Yeah, battle of Heisman winners in this one. Baker didn't have the best stats at home last year, but I'm going to give Tampa the nod to force some mistakes early by the Commanders' rookie signal caller to make the difference. So let's go Tampa here to cover.
That's another surprisingly low over-under, like 43.5. To me, that seems like an offensive game, but guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Sunday night matchup is a rematch of the NFC wildcard battle last year as the LA Rams head to Motor City to battle against the Detroit Lions. 8:20 p.m. Eastern kickoff in Ford Field on NBC. LA finished last year at 10-7 as Stafford looks to get his first win in Detroit against his old team, while Detroit finished 12-5 and looks to build upon their 2023 year that saw them one win away from making it to the Super Bowl. The Rams went 5-4 on the road last year, but the Lions were 6-2 at home. LA leads this series by a tight margin, 45-42-1. Your Lions are favored by 3.5.
Yeah, the Rams have some offensive line issues going into this game, and that building is going to be loud. I'm not sure this is the week you want to have offensive line issues, especially with our revamped defense. I'm taking the Lions minus the 3.5, and I won't say it's going to be a blowout, but I think we're in pretty good shape in this game. I am very interested, though. The Rams' new offense with Blake Corum back there to go with Kyron Williams mixed with Puka and Cooper. I mean, it's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be a great game. Obviously, the Vegas is thinking it's high scoring, 50.5 over under, but I do like the Lions minus the 3.5 in this one.
Yeah, you mentioned the offensive line struggles. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this defensive line matches up in the post AD era for the Rams against this Detroit offensive line, because it's arguably the best in football. If they can get to the quarterback, they may be able to keep it within 3, but the problem is that offensive line. I think week 1 is going to look a little different than week 10. This should be another fun game, but give me the Lions here to cover at home. All right, our first Monday Night Football game of the season is a big one as the New York Jets head to the Bay Area to face off against last year's NFC champion San Francisco 49ers, Monday at 8:20 p.m. in Levi Stadium on ESPN and ABC, not on DirecTV as of right now. The Jets finished 7-10 last year and looked to get more than one series out of Aaron Rodgers, while the Niners finished 12-5 last year, hoping to pull together a season that would finally get them a Super Bowl win and not just runner-up. The Jets went 3-5 on the road last year. The Niners were 5-3 at home. San Francisco dominates this series 11-3. They are favored by 4.5.
Yeah, this one's interesting to me. I mean, the Niners, they got guys holding out. They got guys getting shot. Their pets' heads are falling off. Like I'm not sure what's going on in San Francisco, but I'm gonna do it. I'm taking the Jets plus 4.5.
Interesting. All right. Hell of a first Monday Night Football game here. The Niners have a little bit more juice now that the Ayuk situation's resolved. Trent Williams is now resolved. That still, I don't think is necessarily enough to cover this 4.5. I think a little Rodgers magic plus a solid ground game from Breece Hall can keep this within 3. So I'm with you. I'm going to take the Jets here plus the points. All right. It is time for Lock of the Week. Jake.
My lock of the week is the Miami Dolphins minus 3.5 at home versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right. My lock of the week is going to be the Buffalo Bills minus 6.5 over the Arizona Cardinals. We talked about this game a little bit already. I think the Cardinals defense, they drafted a little bit of help in Darius Robinson, but he's going to be out. He's starting the season on IR with a calf injury. That doesn't bode well for Buffalo, or doesn't bode well for Arizona, especially if they keep it on the ground. So that's my lock of the week is going to be Buffalo over Arizona. Let's move into underdog pick of the week.
Down goes the Bears. Give me the Tennessee Titans at plus 176 to go into Chicago and beat the Bears week 1.
All right. I like it. My underdog of the week is the Green Bay Packers over the Philadelphia Eagles. We talked about this. A little surprised that Green Bay is the underdog in this one, so let's take advantage of that. Neutral site. Packers have that offense humming at the end of the last season. I think this is going to be a bit of the shootout, but I'm banking on Green Bay to win this one late. So this is my underdog. It's the Pack.
Hopefully it's just a shootout on the field. Good Lord, this game scares me. This is an interesting game.
Oh, goodness. All right, guys. After that dynamite mic drop, dynamite drop in, Monty. That is going to be it for us for week 1. We are rocking and rolling here now on picks against the spread. We are doing it for both college and NFL. So if you don't typically watch our college football podcast, please check that out. It gets released or is live just before this show is. And yeah, we're excited. We're finally here, guys. So go win some money for the fine citizen, Mr. Jacob Workman. This is Reese Downing, TNT Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast, NFL edition, week 1. We will see you guys next week.
See everyone. Eat 'em up, Lions. Eat 'em up.